Friends, hello and welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. So we was late to the party on this. It's just I'm be honest, I was ready for some sleep. So we initially wasn't gonna do this video, and it's like, a lot of people talked about it, but it's just like I just felt like this was such a home run hit by EA with this franchise mode deep dive that we just had to talk about it. I think what we're seeing out of EA now, what it's looking like, they're kind of focusing on one particular game mode each year, trying to rework or revamp it, add as much depth as they can to it. I like that, because instead of just kind of like doing basic additions to everything every year, there's a lot of depth in NHL, to be fair, a lot of different game modes. So it takes some time. So if you can just focus on one game mode and really improve it, I kind of like that style. And I think we're seeing some huge improvements for franchise mode this season, starting off with the biggest thing we've been talking about, besides people talking about GM Connected. That's not coming back. I don't think it's going to come back just because we'll get out of the way early. I don't think it's coming back because you just look at like baseball, look at football. Football is a good one where GM Connected can work just because there's 16 games a year. But baseball, MLB The Show recently got rid of their Connected franchise. I think that was one of the games that kept it. It's so difficult for anybody to play 80 games a year in a Connected franchise with your friends. Everybody's kind of got to get their own system. So honestly, I think it's one of those things. Personally, I always look at it as like a novelty. Got to have it. Maybe it's nostalgia, but it's one of those things that never really. I don't think it ever held enough traction for the server and everything else that EA would have to incorporate it. I think that's probably why they're not bringing it back. And just going off of like baseball, if it was going to work so well, and baseball's franchise, MLB's franchise mode so fast, where you can fly through it. It's like people just weren't playing it as much as maybe we remember it. I'm willing to take that one. I'll take the we was big advocates. Maybe I could still be wrong about it, right? Maybe GM Connected was one. Well, we was big GM Connected advocates. Anyway, what they got this year, been asking for, is such a small thing: box scores. Going back to old games, being able to look at stats, being able to look at box scores, it was such a big thing we've been asking for now for years. Because it's just like, when you sum up your games, 7, 8, 9 games, you're like, oh, dang, we gave up 8 goals here or 6 goals here. Or, things go bad. It's like, well, who was in net? Who was in this? When you don't have a box score, you can't see who was on the ice doing well. You can't see who's hot. You can't see who's cold. But now we're getting a box score. Absolutely love it. And you're also now able to look at it in more depth. Anything statistic related, I love it. We're going to be able to go to the game logs of players. Again, you got hot and cold players. A guy might put up 25 points in the first 20 games of the year, and then he might put up none the next 2 weeks. It's like when you see that kind of stuff, you can adjust your lineups when you're just either on a hot streak. Eventually they cool off. So I love that stuff. Huge fan of that. We're seeing some more stuff added in the trading system. We're seeing no movement clauses, some modified no trade clauses added to the game. Now that's going to be an interesting one. We're going to get that completely incorporated. I would assume so. So people's, in real life, no movement clauses will be there. And that's going to be an interesting one because now you just can't make it. As we would say, can't make trades for free. A lot of the stuff we do in the past is like, go get the old guy with low trade value. He's got a year left on a contract. Nobody wants him or whatever. But now a lot of those guys that are older, they're veterans, they're gonna have that no movement clause. It won't be easy just to scoop up any and every free player you want, which makes it more difficult, makes it more challenging, but it does make it more realistic. And it'll be kind of interesting to see how that kind of comes to fruition in this year's game. I'm excited for it. And I'll be honest, I might be one of the people that turn it on. I'm assuming, so we'll see which ones of these have settings of what's on and what's not on. Like talking to the coach, I think this is a big one. They have more dialogue in franchise mode this year. You talk to the coach, you talk to the players, as the GM, you talk to anybody you want. You can persuade players to stay, what they're interested in being here, how much they'll take, if they want to be where they want to play, what they think their role is on the team. This is big stuff. Big stuff when you consider how much, I feel like it's a complete rework. And I like it. I like it a lot. We're going to say that a lot in this. This is something talking about the dialogue change. You can talk to a player about changing a position. Not only can you talk to him about changing a position from like left defense to right defense, but you can say, hey, you want to come play right wing? Want to play left? You want to go from center to right defense? Imagine the things you could do if you could just maybe a really good defensive center, he's like an 83 overall, maybe he's great defensively. Now you move him down to your second line defense. The difference you can make if you can persuade them. Now, it's not going to be easy. Like as I was saying in the commentary, it's like, hey, if he's a right defenseman and you want to move him to left defense, he's got high defensive awareness. There's a good chance they'll say, okay, we accept it. There's also chances they're going to say, no, it's not going to happen. But I do think it's really cool to just have that extra added dynamic, that extra GM feel, because that is, that's a GM thing or a coaching thing. Like if you want a player to do it, you talk to a player, see what they want to do. You want to make this happen, probably going to get some backlash, but at the same time, maybe not. I think that's really cool, and sometimes it just won't work, so you can't. But you also have the same conversations you can now have with the coaches as well. It's like, hey, you know what? I'd like to have this player on the second unit or the first line, and you don't have him here. Now, will the coach always listen? Maybe not, but you're the GM. You tell him what you want to do. It might hurt the morale, but you tell him what you want to do. And this is something I think that's just more important to bring it up. The specific position on your lines. It's a lot to that, and I mentioned in the deep dive. It's got a lot to do with the injuries. When players are injured, if you have injuries on and you want to hit coach's best lines to completely scramble up, just throw it in a blender and scramble them bad boys up with your lines. But in this situation, instead of having to hit, go back and edit every time with injuries, you can say, okay, best lines, whatever, continue, come back. You can have it where it's like, oh, you want Leon Draisaitl to be on the third line, done. So every time somebody gets injured, you hit best lines, your coach would automatically move to the first line. They'll put him in the desired spot. So I think that's a big thing. I really like that, where you can set the roles for certain players in certain positions. Just so, again, it makes it easier if you want to play a more realistic style franchise with injuries on it and whatnot. There's a lot of stuff. Again, I can't stress enough. They made a 17-minute video deep dive. And, we can be critical of the game very often because we just want to see it change. We want to see it improve. We want to see it get better. And we have to give EA the credit here. The fact that they could come out with a 17-minute deep dive. They changed a lot. They did a lot. We normally get a 3-minute deep dive. I don't know why I did it myself. I did. I read the comments, and there ain't a single one of them comments was about franchise mode. There was issues with other parts of the game. And that's why we said at the beginning, I really like what EA is doing here, because it is difficult, because everybody's got an opinion, and we're all welcome and entitled to our opinions. Everybody's got a favorite game mode. Everybody's got things they love. Everybody's got things they hate. And what's really difficult is some people love things that other people can't stand, which makes it very difficult for EA to properly figure out what's the most important, what needs changed, what needs added, what needs kept, what needs removed. So you got to give them props. I feel like they're doing their best to navigate that storm, if you will, but we're seeing, I think, a lot of good improvements in franchise mode this year. So I'm excited to see what we have in store. Love y'all's thoughts. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.